Sticks and stones may break my bones, but your one-star review touches my very soul. Handle with care. A bonkers story of penile horror. Keep going until you finish. Creative and engaging. I couldn't stop listening. Started out so good and hilarious that I told my husband to read it. So many layers to this story. I will be thinking about it for a very bloody long time. A ridiculous, gory, horrifying romp with a very satisfying end. A political rant on toxic masculinity. It was ridiculous. It was gross. I snorted and cackled a lot. But aside from the hilarity, the crux of it was a disturbing and cautionary tale of entitlement. Trust me when I say that you have never read anything like it before. My name is Krumbine, and I make videos about the intersection of creative expression, creative process, and mental health. I am a multi-hyphenate creative professional with a career in the corporate space. I also write, among many other things, novels. Now, despite how homogenized, routine, and sometimes even toxic review culture has become, there's useless star ratings on Amazon, even more useless thumbs up on YouTube. User or audience reviews still contain precious, life-affirming nuggets of gold, especially if you are an artist, any kind of artist, because art without an audience, well, it's basically just masturbation, which is to say nothing wrong with it, but it's still better when there is, more than one participant. Emphasis on participant, the willing kind specifically. I'm not talking about a Louis C.K. type of situation here. For an author, self-published or otherwise, reviews are more than just a recommendation to other readers. Reviews, simply put, are a validation of a kind of creative expression that requires an artist's soul to be laboriously extracted and painted in prose across countless pages. And let me tell you, validation is absolutely everything. Validation is oxygen. Validation is motivation. Validation is fucking vindication that this dumb idea you labored over for months or even years wasn't a total waste of time, and there's at least one other person in this big, dumb, insufferable world that sees you, that gets you. When we watch film and TV or read those mass-marketed book club novels, it's easy, right? It's easy to lose sight of the artist behind the work. We will sum up an opinion, a star rating, or thumb it up or down based on a personal reaction to the art, not necessarily considering the human who birthed it. And that's perfectly fair, especially when considering the mass market component. The worst of this entertainment are simply profit factories for shareholders, and, well, actual souls aren't exactly a prerequisite. And that's pretty fucking sad, because it's been training our society to respond in the same common denominator fashion, whether we're talking about a big budget Marvel flop or a 10-second seizure prompt on TikTok. It's all just content. And all content deserves is a thumb and a swipe. Sticks and stones, thumb and a swipe. But words, an audience expressing personal opinion. I am a self-published author and creator many times over. And like I said at the start, with every comment and review you post, you take my soul in your hands. Handle with care, please. So, all those pull quotes at the top of the video, those are from my novel, Don't Be a Monster, comma, Dick, exclamation point. To quote the Amazon product page, the novel is about a guy whose penis falls off, turns into a monster, and then terrorizes the city. There's a military defense contractor, so there's a lot of toxic phallic imagery. Speaking of phallic, there's also a wannabe governor campaigning on states' rights to WMDs. Also, the eponymous monster dick may or may not jump across multiple bodies regardless of gender. A dude plays the flute. Another dude beatboxes. There's a restaurant called Nips and Sips. Toxic masculinity meets the symbiotic power of creative expression, but with lots of dick. While my monster dick novel hasn't exactly taken the world by storm, such is the self-publishing game, the feedback I have received has been more than enough to roll a very sexy series of pull quotes, as demonstrated at the top of the video, including this singular one-star review that, well, it scooped up my soul, rattled it around for about a second, and then proceeded to give me a metaphorical reach around. If you are confused, well, so was I. Here is the review in its entirety from the Amazon user Hunter. 1 out of 5 stars. A political rant on toxic masculinity and more. What a letdown. This started out so good and hilarious that I told my husband to read it too. However, it soon went downhill with all the ideological views of one side of the spectrum and became annoying and probably insulting to many more than entertaining. The authors should warn people in the description when their books are like this. So, you remember everything I said just a few minutes ago about being mindful about the human on the other side of the review? it's easy to lose sight of the artist behind the work. We will sum up an opinion, a star rating, or thumb it up or down based on a personal reaction to the art, not necessarily considering the human who birthed it. Yeah, I'm about to break my own rule because this Hunter character is a fucking moron. And I don't say that lightly. There is an epidemic of stupidity running rampant through our culture, fueled by politics and pandemics, pushing us closer and closer to an authentic idiocracy. If that sounds harsh, pull your head out of your ass, get vaxxed, and put a fucking mask on, you inveterate sickos. So, yes, Hunter is a moron because, let's be honest, there is a hell of a lot of good in this 1-star review. A political rant on toxic masculinity. Yes, exactly. I wrote the damn thing and I couldn't have summed it up in a single, cleaner line myself. Thank you. Well said. Started out so good and hilarious that I told my husband to read it. Oh my God, recommendations to friends and family, that is the motherfucking lifeblood of a self-published author. Again, thank you. Obviously, Hunter downloaded the book in the first place based on the objectively brilliant cover art and description. But somehow, this idiot, and I am using that pejorative as a clinical, if not a technical term, downloaded a book about a giant monster penis as illustrated by said cover art, and then proceeded to bitch about ideological views concerning toxic masculinity. Again, the description clearly states that the book is about toxic masculinity. See? Right there. Also, spoiler alert, the novel's opening sequence is about a scum of the earth father having his penis removed because he stuck it where it 100% absolutely did not belong. And then the story moves to an opening monologue about how the aforementioned Nips and Sips restaurant requires its waitresses to wear perpetually erect prosthetic rubber nipples. You know, it's that whole part that the review claimed started out so good and hilarious. The beginning of the book. In other words, I have made absolutely zero effort to misrepresent what this novel is about. Whether it is Monster Dick or my other novel, Punch Drunk and All Out of Fucks, my recent novella, Gordon Wegner Wants an Ice Cream, which is about the pandemic, long COVID, and dark fucking trauma. I have made no mystery of my politics, my values, and where I stand in general. It's right there on the covers, in the descriptions, and literally everywhere else you look in my creative world. I am aggressively progressive as fuck. Deal with it. But this Amazon reviewer, a woman, I presume, since they invited their husband to also read the novel, they take issue with my political rant against toxic masculinity. which in the novel, in all fairness, resolves in a rant against both toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. It's kind of just about toxic culture in general. I try to be an equal opportunity offender, although, yes, toxic masculinity does carry the bulk of the novel. I say all of that simply to say this. Dear Hunter of Amazon, you liked the cover, you liked the premise, and the pitch, you liked the opening act, and you told your husband to read it. But I guess you're too, in favor of toxic masculinity to enjoy the rest of the story because you are pro-toxic masculinity? I mean, that's one hell of a hot take if ever there was one. You giant fucking idiot. If you've made it this far, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing me to, well, express myself and, vent a little, such as it is. My bubble is small, my audience smaller, and your words, your feedback, your support, your comments and ratings, they are my oxygen and validation. And yes, that includes the 1 stars. Because literally everything else about that review was just so fucking perfect. Thank you, Hunter. Sincerely. Like and subscribe if you like liking and subscribing. Please check out my books. The Gordon Wegner novella is free to download, and both Monster Dick and Punch Drunk are available as audiobooks right here on YouTube. Until next time, stay creative.